the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live on a Sunday night. You know what that means. It's Book of Enoch study night. That's correct. Old Bible study. How are you? I'm Jake Johnson, and this is Untethered Live. Come on in, take your shoes off. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a good read. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be intense. It's going to be scary. It's going to be a little bit intimidating. It's going to be fun. All right. Who we got in chat? Amy's first in chat. You get a gold star for being first in chat. Nice. Nice to see you. Amy says, Proverbs 12:16 of the King James Version. A fool's wrath is presently known, but a prudent man covereth shame. Yes. Walks tall and carries a big stick. That's what a prudent man does. Proverbs 26:4-5. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise with his own counsel, his own conceit. Excuse me. Yeah, if you entertain fools, you're entertaining fools. You're getting nowhere. Spinning your wheels in the mud. That's the whole idea of that conversation. It's okay to answer a question. It's not okay to answer a question when the person asking the question thinks they already know the answer to the question. That's a different story. If you come to me earnestly with a question, I will endeavor to enlighten you and answer your question. If you come to me with sarcasm in your question as if you already know the answer and you're trying to trip me up, I'm not even going to waste my time with you. You've already chosen your path. So go, show me how it works. I'm not trying to change you. I'm just trying to enlighten you. That's it. It's the whole idea behind that statement. Amy says, good evening, Untethered Live family. Jake and Amanda. Amy, nice to see you. She says, the verses still hold true today, and there are many foolish people in this country, yes. Let the Bible verses guide us through these trying times. Amen to that. And there are many foolish people. I might even be one of them. I don't know. I'm trying to not be, though. And the way I do that is by earnestly stepping forward with a real intent, and that is to understand. That's it. We don't know everything. We can't possibly. Unfortunately, in this country in today's time, there's a lot of people that think they do. You won't get anywhere like that, I promise you. The best thing you can do is find somebody that's smarter than you and hang on for dear life and listen to everything they say. That's what I do. That's what you should do. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Amen. Amanda says, here's your gold star, Amy. And Amanda says, hi. And hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Hope everybody had a good weekend. And hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Full and coffeeed. Can't complain. That's about the best way to be. Thank you. Debbie's here. She says, howdy, all y'all. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you, sweet lady. Come on in, baby. Take your shoes off. We're going to do some Bible studying tonight. Well, we're going to do some Book of Enoch studying tonight. Bible-adjacent studies. Amy says, like, shared, and invited some friends. Thank you very much. And Amanda says, Debbie, hamburger helper hand. Amy says, I made biscuits and sausage and gravy, hash browns, patties for dinner. What did y'all have? I had a piece of pizza and 2 little hamburgers, and they were delicious. Sunday. It's Sunday. It's recuperation day. You know how it goes. Patty's here. Hey, Patty. She says, hello, chillins. Hi, Patty. Nice to see you back. And thank you for sending me your email. I got it in the file. Thank you. Now I can reach out and make sure you're still alive if you disappear on me again. I was worried sick about you. I hope you know that. It may not mean much, but I am your friend, and I do worry. Amy says, D, hamburger helper hand. I don't know whether to be insulted by that or complimented. What are we talking about? What is the D for? Is it the D hand or the D hand? What are we talking about? Amanda says, Patty, hamburger helper hand. That's the new hello, by the way. Amy says, Patty, heart, kissy face. Kevin Bernard, what's up, brother? Nice to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well this weekend. Kevin says, hello, Jake, Amanda, Amy, and Patty. Patty says, hi, ladies, prayers. It's good to see you guys here. Amy says, hi, St. Bernard. Kevin says, ladies. Ladies. Amanda says, Kevin, hamburger helper hand. Patty says, hi, Mr. Kevin, prayers. Kevin says, hello, Patty. Just breaking chops. Amy says, please press that thumbs up and share the video. Hit the share arrow. The share arrow? I guess it is an arrow, isn't it? Yep. Debbie says, off topic, Jake, do you know what dreaming about snakes means? Yes. It means you're uncomfortable. And probably ate something that didn't agree with your stomach. I don't have the exact metaphor because it varies depending on who you're talking about. I've done a little bit of cursory study into dreams and the meanings thereof, but ultimately everybody has their own opinion and they vary wildly. So I wouldn't be comfortable giving you a definition of what it means other than your brain is never shutting off. When you're sleeping, when you hit REM, which is the place in the sleep where you dream, the REM stage, that's when your eyes are going back and forth. Your brain goes into alpha wave state so that your body can repair itself. And the brain does some pretty weird things in alpha state. And one of them is dreaming. And nobody really knows what causes that or how you get that. The only thing they can figure is that it is taking ideas and thoughts that you've had during the day and compiling them and going over them. And then the representation of that is what your brain sees as a dream. It manifests in many different ways. I'm guessing that's how that works. I don't know. I'm not a brain science guy, but I will say that dreaming about snakes is usually indicative of some kind of fear. Snakes are scary. So when you dream about things that are scary, it's because you're dealing with something that is pressing on your anxiety nerve. So I would look into what that is if I were you. But then there's the school of thought, just to keep you on the level, that everything you dream is upside down and backwards from what reality is. I.e., if you dream about death, that means somebody's going to be born. And if you dream about life, that means somebody's going to die. That kind of thing. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but that's what some psychologists think, that dreams can be interpreted in the opposite of what you're seeing. I don't know. I don't know why that would be. But I would imagine a dream is just a dream. I've had some pretty creepy dreams and some that have even been prophetic. But it all boils down to I already knew that information. My brain was just pursing it while I was sleeping. I've never been given a thought in my dreams that I didn't already know. So I would imagine it's something in your life that's bothering you, something that you're thinking about or stressing over, and it manifests in the form of snakes. That's the best I can do. I can't read your mind, but I hope that helps. Take a deep breath, praise the Lord, and live another day. That's all you can do. Everything else is meaningless. Kevin says, hello, Debbie. Amy says, Kevin, I borrowed the screenshot from your page from X. Nice. What was it? Kevin says, not a problem, Amy. Amber Ground says, message retracted. I can't read it if you retract it. Hi, Amber. Amy says, hi, Amber. And Amy says, he can't read it if you retract it. That's right. Amber says, prayers, hearts. Good evening, friends. I'm folding clothes and listening. Right on. Well, you got to fold them or else they'll just be all over the place. Hearts and prayers. Amanda says, Amber, hamburger, helper, Amber, hamburger, helper hand. Try to say that 3 times real fast. Amber, hamburger. Hamburger, 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 Amber, hamburger, Amber, hamburger. It's hard to do. The things I do for your entertainment. Amber says, hamburger, helper hand, and surprised hearts. Amy says, coffee. Gotcha. I'm right here. Don't you want to have a cup with me? If so, grab yourself a cup and let's get talking about the world. If you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic. It's fabulous. We also have stainless steel tumblers down there with locking lids. They both, big ones and little ones. They have the Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front, all the platforms on the back. They look great on your coffee table to keep your coffee hot for hours. Get one while supplies last. Like, subscribe, share, support to join, and super chats are available in the chat box. If you want to show a little bit of love, if you want to, you can do that by going to CashApp $JakeJohnsonband or PayPal.me/JakeJohnsonband. I greatly appreciate that very, 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 very much if you can do so. And one last thing, if you'd like to hang out with us outside of the YouTuberverse and get to know us on a personal level, you can do that over at Facebook.com/UntetheredLive chillin'. The link is in the chat somewhere. I recommend you do so. Share pictures, text, videos, and chats, and keep up with all things Untethered Live adjacent on a weekly basis. It's refreshed often, and you never know what you'll see over there. So it's free, it's entertaining, it's effortless, it's yours. You might as well go and check it out. And now, on with the show. Kevin says, hamburger helper hand, Amber. That's easier. Hamburger. 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 Amber. Amy says, my mom says that if you're dreaming and someone offers you to use the bathroom, don't do it. It's a trick. If you're dreaming about a bathroom, wake up. You got to pee. That's true. Amber says, fabulous. My brother Aaron's in the house. Hello, buddy. How you doing? Aaron says, I've heard that the falling dream is really bad because they say if you actually land, you die because in your mind, in the dream, it thinks you died for real. So they had cases. Well, maybe. I've dreamed of falling and landing and didn't die. I guess it depends on what you're dreaming about when you're dreaming. If you're having a heart attack and you dream about falling, you might die when you hit the ground. That's probably true. I don't know if there's any actual cases of people dying because of a dream and how they would prove that if they did have a case of it. I think that's a wives' tale, but there's validity in wives' tales, so it's possible. The only thing I can tell you is that the mind always produces dreams. It always has, it always will, and nobody has a good answer as to where that comes from or why. Nobody. I've looked into it. You won't find a good answer. That being said, just for the sake of clarity, the Bible does mention dreams that God gives people. So there is a difference between what you dream at night and a dream that God gives you. If he gives you a dream, all bets are off. I don't know how to interpret that, but I would imagine somebody on earth could, because they could in those days. Joseph was a dream interpreter, and that caused him to win over Egypt. So, to that I say that's above my pay grade. I'm doing the best I can with the words. So, if anybody has good intelligence on how to interpret dreams, I'm all ears. Amanda says, Aaron, hamburger helper hand. And Debbie says, thanks for the info, Amy. I could have used that last week. By the time I woke up, it was too late. Haha. Right on. Yep, that happens. Aaron says, when people hit the ground and they're asleep, or when people hit the ground and they sleep, of the fall and they think that they died for real, they never wake up. I suppose that's possible. I don't know. I've dreamed of falling and I've hit the ground before in my dream and I didn't die. I've dreamed of dying in my sleep and didn't die. Being shot and that sort of thing. I don't know. I guess it depends on the circumstance. Amy says, thanks, Amanda and Jake, for the herbal tea. I'll definitely use it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sorry it ain't more. That's what I had. And it will work for you. It is good stuff. It smells kind of funky, but it's good. Aaron says, naked. Right on. Naked? Are you naked? Kevin says, hamburger upper hand, Aaron. Amanda says, you're welcome, Amy. I hope it helps. And Aaron says, turkey hand. Naked turkey hand. Got it. That's what naked is. Understood. Here's the link to the chilling page if anybody wants to check it out. Facebook.com/UntetheredLive chilling. There it is. Amy says, Aaron, kissy face. I hope you replaced your burnt wiring. That could have been bad. You had an angel watching over you for sure. What happened? Did you have some burnt wiring in your house? That's scary. And Debbie says, I had snakes in my bed and all over the room. I was not scared at all. I just ignored them, which would never happen in real life. Ha ha ha. Right. Well, I wasn't suggesting you were scared. I was suggesting that snakes are a product of fear. It's a fear response. It doesn't mean that you're actually scared of snakes. It just means that that's what snakes mean to most people is fear. It comes from that. So some scientists believe, now obviously I don't believe in evolution and I don't believe in psychology and all of that hooey nonsense. I'm telling you what people have said that I've heard. Science believes that you have a ancient memory in your DNA of fear of snakes, which is why we respond to them as such, snakes and spiders, because they can't find a real evolutionary reason why all people recoil at the sight of snakes and spiders other than they used to be bigger and scarier. And we remember that somehow. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think it is. But I do know that most of the time when you dream of things, it could be a circumstance of how you're sleeping. I know that my hands have gone to sleep in my sleep up to my elbows. And I have some pretty weird dreams until I wake up and realize I can't move or feel my fingers, Some pretty weird things have happened in my mind but as a result of being uncomfortable. So I would imagine it's probably something like that. Maybe I have a circulation problem. Feel like there's bugs crawling on you or snakes. That's what that sounds like to me. I hope that helps. I don't know. I'm a realist, though. I don't put a lot of stock into fantasy. Lady B says, God bless you all. God bless you too, Lady B. How are you? Kevin says, Lady B, hamburger upper hand. Aaron says, God bless us all, even the snakes. Well, they were cursed, so I don't know if they should get a blessing, but hopefully. Amy says, Lady B, I'm happy you made it. Amber says, Lady B, prayers and hearts. And Amanda says, Lady B, hamburger upper hand. Aaron says, dreams about dreaming while dreaming wakes up on Untethered Live. Right. If you ever have this dream where you're doing cocaine in your sleep and you can't fall asleep and you're doing cocaine in your sleep and you can't fall asleep and you're doing cocaine in your sleep and you can't fall asleep and you wake up and you're doing cocaine, you're an addict. Lady B says, hey, Kevin, dear, I hope 2026 is a blessed year for you. Oh, it is. It is. Aaron says, I ordered the harness Amy. Care to fill us in on what you're talking about? Amber says, Aaron, cool smiley faces. And Lady B says, Amy, thank you texting me about our Bible study. Prayers and hearts. Amen. Got to keep the flock in line. She's good at that. Amy says there are some churches that integrate snakes into sermons. Yes, there are. And some of them handle snakes. And to that, I would offer you this word of advice. Snakes have not read the Bible. They don't know they're not supposed to bite you. Okay? Just remember that. If you're going to handle snakes, find one that's read the Bible. Aaron says, Amber, hearts, and a finger. I think that was a threat, Amber. Lady B says, Amanda, hamburger, helper hand, and heart. And Amy, they are called holiness. No, they're called Pentecostal holiness. Pentecostal are the ones that handle the snakes. Judy says, hi, everyone, at least in Alabama. Right on. Oh, sorry. Judy says, hi, everyone, and Lady B says, at least in Alabama. Green, got me. Hi, Judy. Amy says, Jake, the wiring in his vehicle melted and smoked. Yeah, that's terrifying. I've had that happen before. I'm glad you got that fixed. I'm glad you saw it before it caught on fire, because it can't catch on fire and burn your car to the ground. Kevin says, hamburger, helper hand, Judy. Amber says, Judy, hearts and prayers. Lady B says, Judy, hearts. And Judy says, hey, Lady B, long time no see. Amanda says, FYI, Brightspeed is so dumb. Ugh. Oh, I know. I know. I've been dealing with them too. Well, hopefully, and so far it looks like we got a good connection. Let me see. Yep, so far we're healthy. Hopefully it'll stay that way. I'm getting a speed test of about 13 down and 3 up. That's download speed and upload speed in what, megabytes, gigabytes, whatever it is. 13 down, 3 up. I'm paying for 60 down, 20 up. See the difference? That's why we're having internet issues, and we're trying to get somebody at Brightspeed that is both speaks English and understands what the hell I'm talking about. Because most of them are just tech support people that have no idea how to solve that problem or even what that problem means. But somebody's got to figure it out, because I'm going to stop paying for it if they're not going to give it to me. Amy says, Judy, kissy face. Sorry about bringing you into our drama, but it is drama, and it concerns the show, so. Oh, thank you very much. And that's quite all right. Thank you. God bless you. Amy says, Judy, kissy face. Judy says, Amy, hey. Amber, hey. Amanda says, old Robin Williams, I love and miss him. Old Robin Williams. He was a funny guy. I would ask all of you to go find Robin Williams live at the Met. So he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt and red shoes. Go watch that video. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. Live at the Met. It's from the 80s. First thing he says, the first words he says is, I'd like to thank Mel DeMarcos for the earrings. Oh, wrong opera house. That's how you know it's the right one. Quite a lot of my jokes come from him. I stole a lot from that guy. That's why I use Supposa sound. Nobody wants their tapes back. I wonder why. It's in that video. Hilarious. Probably the best comedy special ever. If you like comedy, Robin Williams live at the Met. Go check it out. Judy says, hey, Kevin. Amy says, maybe that's a sign, Debbie, about the snake churches. I don't know. Yeah, just don't go to churches that handle snakes. Remember, we live in reality. Don't go to places that tout things that aren't realistic. That's the easy way to handle that. There's a lot of religions out there. There's a lot of opinions out there. I caution you to stay away from them all. They are all obviously somebody's interpretation of reality. Look for people that are studying reality, the everyday life that you can see. You found a home here. It's good enough, in my opinion. And Judy says, hey, Amanda and Jake. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. Lady B says, Judy, I took a break from social media during the holidays, was busy with Christmas parties and church plays, and also working on projects. Had my niece over, etc. That's lovely. Glad you're here. Amber says, animals are animals. 100% true. And snakes are snakes. And I would also caution you to read the Bible, and you see what happens when you talk to snakes, ladies. Learn a lesson. Stop talking to snakes. It's on the first page of the Bible. That ought to tell you something. Judy says, Lady B, it sounds like you needed it. I'm glad you're back. Lady B says, I love me some Robin Williams, Amanda. Did you see the last movie he was in? Which one was that? Do you know the last movie he was in? Aaron says, it's on my Facebook page, Jake. It won't let me type long enough to tell you. I'll send you a message. Okay? As long as you're okay, that's what matters. Amanda says, Judy, hamburger upper hand. And Amy says, I've only smoked 5 cigarettes today. Congratulations. Me too. Aside from the other ones. And that's good for me. I bought mints and gum today. And I have a stylus to fidget with. Very smart. Yes, always, if you're going to quit smoking, the first thing you need to do is figure out something to do with your hands and your mouth, because that's half of it. Remember Telly Savalas? Every video he was ever in, every movie, he had a sucker in his mouth. That was his thing, his shtick. It's also how he didn't smoke. Amber says, I never ask a person if I can pet their pet. I offer my hand to see if the pet is with it. And so far, I haven't gotten bitten. Smart move. Lady B says, we all need to take breaks, Judy. Aaron says, what dreams may come. That's not the last movie Robin Williams was in, but that is a good movie. A very good movie. Amanda says, they first tried to say the bill was past due, and then said it's our outside line again, and they're full of crap. Yes, they are full of crap, because the bill ain't past due. It's been paid, and the line is brand new. I've replaced it. It is not us. It is them. We're talking about Brightspeed still. We're complaining about it. Sorry. Judy says, hey, Aaron. And Amanda says, they want to send another technician out again. Ugh. They can keep sending technicians out. It's not us. They have a go-to script. That's what they do. They have a script of things to say when people ask certain questions, and they follow that script. They have no thought as to what actually happens. They don't know how the system works. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just repeating lines. That's how call centers work. What we need to do is get past them to somebody that actually knows how the system works, who can answer questions like, do you know how to speed up the internet? Do you know how to cap it? Do you understand what the little numbers mean? Those are the people that can help us. Amber says, Miss Hammer, F. Right on. I agree with that. F. Patty says, Debbie, I would pray about it and wait for it. Prayers and smiley faces to us. Amen to that. Yeah, God knows more than I do, that's for sure. Pray about it, and if it's a problem, he'll answer it for you. Aaron says, hi, Judy. Bill Bennett says, switch providers. I can't. It's the only provider we have. They got me by the short hairs. Believe me, I'd have done that months ago if I could have. We have fiber optic, but it's in town. It doesn't come out to my house, and I'd have to pay them to put the line out here, which is crazy expensive. So that's a no-go. Satellite is a no-go because it's garbage around here because of where we're at. And the only landline service that we have is Brightspeed. There is no other ones. Kevin says, hamburger upper hand, Bill. And Amy says, hi, Bill. Lady B says, Amy, I'm so proud of you. Amen. Aaron says, Patty the legend. She is that. Sorry, my chat jumped. Amber says, fried egg sandwich, extra cheese. I'm in. Judy says, hey, Patty. Amber says, LOL. It split my offer, Miss Hammer. It split your offer. All right. Kevin says, sorry I missed you guys yesterday. I passed out right before the show started. I saw you. I'm glad you're here, though. Amber says, Kevin, diamonds and hearts. And Judy says, hey, Bill. Lady B says, Amy, once you break it, imagine the money you will have and how much better you will feel. In a few months, food will taste better. Oh, yeah. Patty says, Aaron, you are a cool cat. He is that. Lady B says, hey, Patty, wavy hand heart. Aaron says, meow. Amber says, Bill, prayers and hearts. Patty, prayers and hearts. Bill Bennett says, hello, all. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here too, buddy. We're going to get into some book of Enoch right here in just a minute. Just trying to get some of the hellos out of the way. Lady B says, Kevin, I have done. New York bedtime is early at times. Z's. Amanda says, Bill, hamburger upper hand. Patty says, hi, Judy. And Lady B, prayers. And Lady B says, hey, Bill, prayers. Amanda says, Amy, try chewing on straws. It helped me. Anything you can do with your mouth. Boyfriends like that when you quit smoking. Delicious. Lady B says, chew on straws, Amy. Chew on straws, Amy. Aaron says, Amy, can't smoke or I won't get my Christmas present. Uh-oh. What's your Christmas present? Do tell. Aaron says, I think it was 1 hour photo, the movie. Nope, that's not his last movie either. Both of those movies are from the early 90s. Both good movies, though. Amanda put Robin Williams' last movie in the chat so everybody knows. And I'm not exactly sure which one it is. Because just because he did a movie doesn't mean that was the last one that came out. They come out at different times. He might have done any number of movies beforehand, and they just haven't come out for whatever reason. So the last movie he was in that came out is not necessarily the last movie he filmed, if that makes any sense. Amy says, working on it, Aaron. Patty says, hi, Mr. Bill, peace. And Aaron says, good. Lady B says, Kevin, let me try again. I go to bed early, so I understand. Aaron says, LOL, I'm clipping that hands and mouth statement. Amen. Lady B says, Walmart told me today when you call them, your chat will jump. It's AI for the first 5 minutes. Oh, yeah. All companies do that nowadays. For whatever reason, they think that their customers want to talk to a robot that doesn't know anything. I'll never figure that one out. Aaron says, oh, It was Night at the Museum 2. I forgot about that. I don't think that was the last movie he was in either. Also a good movie. Amy says, I used to work in the call center. It's not an easy job dealing with angry people, but I also understand why people would be upset, too. It was an after-hours center for doctors, plumbers, HVAC, etc. Oh, yeah. I used to work at internet tech support, so I got the idea. The problem is there are absolutely people there that do not know what they're doing. They're reading a script. And then there are some people that are there that actually take the time to learn all the stuff so they know what they're talking about. I was one of those. Nose in a book all the time. Could recite all of the little windows that you see from memory because I studied it. But the guy right beside me didn't even know how to work a computer. He was just reading a script. Wonder how many people he helped. Amy says, Lady B, I have an AI guy that answers my phone and records. Nice. Aaron says that. Aaron, you have an AI guy that answers your phone? Why? Amanda says, yeah, lady, I tell them right off the bat I want a human, and they transfer me. Here's a little secret to the automated system. If you don't want to talk to an automated system, as soon as you hear an automated voice, start saying the F word repeatedly. One of two things will happen. It'll hang up, or a human will come on the line. Lady B says, I never smoked, but my dad chewed straws to break his 50-year habit. Right on, Lady B. Night at the Museum was his last movie? Amanda? Apparently it was. I don't think it was. But it might have been. Is it a sequel? Okay. Well, I'm looking at the chat and it says Night at the Museum. But that's not the last movie he was in, unless it's Night at the Museum 3 or something like that. Which is possible. Aaron says, yep, Amanda, number 2. I said that. Okay, so it is a sequel. All right. I'm remembering the first one. That's why I said it wasn't the last one. Aaron says, yep. All right. Aaron says, context. I asked Amy for no smoking for Christmas. Got it. Well, if she smokes, you don't get your Christmas present. That is correct. Amanda says, Night at the Museum 2, The Secret of the Tomb, was his last released film and a fitting farewell, ending with a poignant moment where his character tells the hero, smile, my boy, it's sunrise. Amen. Which felt like a goodbye. Maybe. Incidentally, David Carradine died right before his last movie came out, too. And I don't know what the name of it was, but it was about a train. It was one of those direct-to-DVD movies, so it wasn't a big thing. I don't know why that made me think of that, but it did. Bill Bennett says, every AI I've cussed at hangs up instantly. Yeah, well, that will happen. But you'll stop talking to AIs. Amanda says, Boulevard 2015, filmed before his death. This independent drama was his final performance. That's the one I was thinking about. As a lead, playing a man confronted with his hidden life, and was released posthumously, highlighting his dramatic depth. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. Like I said, just because it's the last one that came out does not mean it was the last one he was in. Amanda says, Aaron says, the AI only screens if I push it. It's for scammers mostly. It answers and blocks them. Smart. I didn't know you could do such a thing. David Carradine's last movie was Night of the Templar. Okay. And Lady B says, thank you, Amanda. She's good at it. That's why I have her around, so she makes sense of all the nonsense I spew. All right. That's the bottom of the chat. You watched both of those movies during Thanksgiving? Nice. Odd that we would bring them up today. Amanda says, you're welcome. I got 3 things going at once. Takes me a second. Lady B says, Amanda, smiley, smiley. All right, if you got your book of Enoch, crack it open to chapter 62 of the book of Parables. That's where we're going to start off tonight. Let me lock off my chat here so I don't lose my place. And let's go down, shall we? Go, Gadget Arms, says Amanda. That's what I say. All right, here we go. Chapter 68 of the book of Parables. And it reads, what it is, what's up, brother? He says, hello, I'm here. Hello to all. I'm glad you're here. What it is, you're just in time. We're just about to get started. All right. And it reads, and after that, my grandfather Enoch gave me the teaching of all the secrets in the book of the parables, which had been given to him. And he put them together for me in the words of the book of the parables. That's the book we're reading now. So the book was written by Enoch and given to Noah. That's what he's saying. This is Noah talking. And on that day, Michael answered Raphael and said, the power of the Spirit transports and makes me to tremble because of the severity of the judgment of the secrets, the judgment of the angels, who can endure the service judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt away. And Michael answered again and said to Raphael, who is he whose heart is not softened concerning it, and whose reins are not troubled by this word of judgment that has gone forth upon them, of those who have thus led them out? I don't understand what he's talking about here. Give me a second. He's asking, who is it that isn't softened by the situation that's going on? And that's concerning the judgment. They've been judged for falling. So I guess he's asking, who doesn't understand that they've been judged for their actions, and who isn't feeling a little insecure about what's going to happen next? I think that's what he's asking. And it came to pass, when he stood before the Lord of Spirits, God, Michael said thus to Raphael, I will not take their part under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of Spirits has been angry with them, because they do as if they were the Lord. They do whatever they please, do what thou wilt. That's Satanism. Therefore, all that is hidden shall come upon them forever and ever. For neither angel nor man shall have his portion in it, but alone they have received their judgment forever and ever. So to each person, their judgment is theirs. So each angel has to pay for their own sins, is what he's saying. Hello, Mabel. Mabel says, ciao, everybody. And Amanda, how are you? Jake and Amanda, hi. Nice to see you. Amanda says, hi, Mabel and Hannah. Let me, I don't want to lose my place there. Chapter 69. And after this judgment they shall terrify and make them tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth. The angels have shown things to people who dwell on the earth, which is why they're being judged. They should not have done that. The angels should not have and were explicitly told not to intermingle with people in that way. But they did anyway. That is what Satan caused them to do. That's why a third of the angels fell, because they all wanted to intermingle with people and be part of what was going on down here. Instead of keeping themselves lofty and in heaven and doing the job that God gave them to do, they came down here out of curiosity maybe, or whatever reason, jealousy. Who knows why they did it, but they did. They came here and they got involved, and the way they got involved had repercussions on earth forever. So that's why they've been judged. And behold, the names of those angels, and these are their names. No, I'm not. Okay. And behold, the names of those angels, and these are their names. The first of them, Samjaza, the second, Artikipha, and the third, Armin, and the fourth, Kokabal, and the fifth, Teruel, and the sixth, Rumjal, and the seventh, Danjal, and the eighth, Nikal, and the ninth, Barakel, and the 10th, Azazel. That's one of those bad ones. And the 11th, Armarus, and the 12th, Bartajal, and the 13th, Busasajel, and the 14th, Hananiel, and the 15th, Teril, and the 16th, Simpapagel, Simpapazel, try to say that, and the 17th, Jetrel, and the 18th, Tumel, and the 19th, Turel, and the 20th, Rumiel, and the 21st, Azazel, a different Azazel. And these are the chiefs of their angels and their names, and their chief ones over hundreds and over 50s and over 10s. Remember that there are 10,000 times 10,000, 1,000 angels. There's a bunch of them. So we're only getting a snapshot of a few that came down to earth, right? There's many, many angels that we can't talk about because we don't know anything about them. Or at least there are no books that talk about them. And the name of the first, Jachan, that is, the one who led astray all the sons of God and brought them down to the earth and led them astray through the daughters of men. So Jachan would be the one that brought the 200 down to Mount Hermon who slept with women. That would be his company of angels. And the second was named Asbeel. He imparted the holy sons of God evil counsel and led them astray so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. So Asbeel told them how to do it. One brought them there, the other one told them what to do. And the third was named Gadriel. He is it who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and led astray Eve, and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail and the sword of battle and all the weapons of death to the children of men, and from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on earth from that day and forevermore. So that guy, Gadriel, is the angel that taught people how to make swords and stab each other with them. He taught them about war. And apparently he was also involved in leading astray Eve, which is an interesting thought because that was Lucifer that did that. I wonder what Gadriel had to do. This had to be after the Garden of Eden, in her life after that. Don't know. So it clearly is not talking about what happened in the Garden of Eden, this leading astray of Eve. And it's concerning weapons of death. So that's not anything to do with what happened in the Garden of Eden. It has to be with Eve after the Garden of Eden. Interesting. And the fourth was Penemu, and he taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet, and he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom, and he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper. Interesting. And thereby many sinned from eternity to eternity, and unto this day, for men were not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to their good faith with pen and ink. So, God did not create mankind to live in that way, to be intelligent in that way, to read books, to write letters, to make videos. We are all a product of our life on this earth. In the original Garden of Eden, it was not intended to be that way. Those were things that were meant for the angels, for the good part of heaven. It was not meant for mankind. We were to live on this earth in harmony with each other in nature. That's it. It's interesting that he put it down like that. For men were created exactly like the angels, to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, could not have taken hold of them. But through this, their knowledge, they are perishing, and through this power, it is consuming me. Now you might ask yourself, why would God not want us to be intelligent or write or read, for that matter, or make technology? Why would God not want that? Apparently, he created us in perfect harmony with each other, and no death could come into that. We would live forever as long as we lived in harmony. But because we stepped outside of those lines, because we began to endeavor and to go down paths which inevitably lead to other paths which lead you down dark holes, we started to die. So that, as weird as it may sound, is the main reason why it's so bad what the angels did, is because they brought us into the light in a way God didn't intend. So they worked against God to bring us into the light in that way. And because of that, we perish. And the fifth angel was named jakejohnsonband. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb. Hold on. Let's stop right there. What did he just say? I'm pausing because I've spent about 5 years now listening to people talk about abortion. It's been the topic of political strife, and how we just now come to understand the things that we know, and how science means a certain thing, and how cavemen couldn't have possibly known such things. And I'm reading a 4,000-year-old book right now, and it just said the embryo in the womb and smiting it, and that it's demonic that happens. Jakejohnsonband is the angel that taught men to kill their unborn children. Why? That it might pass away. And the smiting of the soul, the bites of the serpent, and the smiting which befall through the noontide heat, the son of the serpent named Tabit. And this is the task of Casbiel, the chief of the oath which he showed the holy ones when he dwelt high above in glory. And its name is Bika. All right, that's as far as we're going to go there. I just want you to understand what we just read, that this idea of killing an unborn child in the womb is known about in this book, which means they knew about it before that. They understood what was happening. That's amazing to me. I hope you get that, how significant that knowledge is right there. This angel requested Michael to show him the hidden name, that he might enunciate it in the oath, so that whose might so that those might quake before the name and oath, who revealed all that was in secret to the children of men. That hidden name, by the way, is the name of God that he's referring to. And he asked Michael, the archangel, the highest angel, to tell him what that secret name was. I don't know that we know it, but to the extent that the scholars are right, it is YHVH. That's the secret name that was given. I don't know if that's it or not, but that's what they say it is. Yahweh or Jehovah, however you want to say it. Or some people say Yahweh. I don't know that that is the secret name of God. I think it's more akin to the I am that I am, the Alpha and the Omega thing that he told Moses at the burning bush. I think that's probably it. We just have to wait and see. Nonetheless, this angel wanted to know so that he could scare people with it, show them his might. Don't know if that's a good thing for an angel to be doing. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed this oath, Aki, in the hand of Michael. And these are the secrets of this oath, and they are strong enough, or they are strong through this oath. Then the heaven was suspended before the world was created, and forever. The heaven singular, that is the heaven that was here before God created the world. It's pretty interesting what he's saying here. I'm not exactly sure I get it all, but because of the angels understanding the strength of the oath, heaven was suspended before the world was created forever, meaning that things changed in heaven before the earth was created. That would lend to the idea of the Hyperbole, the overthrow, what happened before the Garden of Eden. Remember, I always told you it sounded like something happened before Genesis 1:1, and they allude to it, but they never talk about it in the Bible. That's what I think he's talking about here. And it makes sense that the angels were kind of moving and shaking before the whole creation of mankind and the world happened, and they were dissatisfied with their complacency and began to move outside, color outside the lines, as it were. And some of them outright fell and rebelled against God. Those are the ones we're talking about in this book. I don't know if we're ever going to get a really strong answer as to what occurred before the creation of the earth, but it sounds like heaven was suspended, meaning stopped in its animation. I don't know. And through it, the oath, the earth was founded upon the water, and from the secret recesses of the mountains come beautiful waters, and from the creation of the world and unto eternity, and through that oath the sea was created. I'm guessing the oath that he's talking about is the same thing as God said, let there be. An oath is a spoken phrase, and so is God saying, let there be, a spoken phrase. I'm guessing that's what we're talking about, the correlation here. Kind of going back to creation. And as its foundation, he set for it the sand against the time of its anger, and it dare not pass beyond it from the creation of the world into eternity. And through that oath are the depths made fast, and abide and stir not from their place from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the sun and the moon complete their course, and deviate not from their ordinance from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls them by their names, and they answer him from eternity to eternity. Imagine that. So again, we are getting a correlation of the angels and the stars being the same thing, metaphysically speaking. Just like trees and people are the same thing, metaphysically speaking, in the Bible, stars and angels are also, and you can see that in the book of Revelations, when it makes that direct correlation between Jesus and the 7 angels, or 6 angels. And from eternity to eternity sounds a lot like multiplicity of eternities, does it not? So here we have the notion that there are multiple dimensions to eternity, which is forever. Eternity means forever. And so does space, by the way. The expanse, when God stretched out the heavens, he stretched it out forever. So it's infinite. And there are multiple dimensions of infinites, which is a lot to wrap your head around, but that's what it sounds like he's talking about. And in like manner, the spirits of water and of the winds and of the zephyrs and their paths from all the quarters of the winds, or the four corners of the earth. And there are preserved the voices of the thunder and the light of the lightnings. And there are preserved the chambers of the hail and of the chambers of the hoarfrost, or the really cold areas of the earth, like the North Pole. And the chambers of the mist and the chambers of the rain. This is the convection system that we have on earth, the way that the water works. And it goes up into the clouds and then rains down and then puddles and then evaporates and then goes back up. This is a system that we know about today, we did not know about in earlier times. Also, the jet stream, the way that the winds move around the earth, that's called the four corners of the world. And the paths in the ocean, how there are clear rivers that go through the ocean. And if you know where they are, you can travel really quickly on the oceans. That's something we learned in the 1800s. God knew about it in the Bible. It's just interesting, all this science that he's talking about here. You have to really read into it, because this is not a science book. He's not trying to point out that he knows what he's talking about. He's just mentioning it in passing, that he does, in fact, understand how these things work. And that is science. All right, so, and the chambers of the midst and the chambers of the rain and the dew, and all these believe and give thanks before the Lord of spirits, and glorify him with all their power. And their food is in every act of thanksgiving. And they thank and glorify and extol the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever, God. So there are clear beings involved in making the winds blow and the rains fall and all the things that we see happening on the earth. There are angels whose job it is to cause that to happen. And they have stations, right, all over the place. Whether it's lightning, whether it's rain, whether it's frost, whether it's snow, whether it's heat, all of these things, there are an angel involved in making that happen, which is why God talks about it in that way in the Bible. Now, that is not unlike other religions who think that there's gods over the war and gods over thunder, and they use the word gods, we use the word angels. It's the same thing. We're talking about the same thing. So Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Chinese mythology, it's all talking about the same thing, the way the world actually works. And they've known about it for thousands and thousands of years, which is why this channel exists, to draw some order from the chaos, to understand all of the world's religions are telling the same story. All of the different belief systems, all of the different peoples all over the world are talking about the same events. They just do it in their ways, from their perspectives, and they're all lacking in their understanding. But it's all there. Go look. Just replace the words. It's the same story. And his oath is mighty over them, and through it they are preserved, and their paths are preserved, and their course is not destroyed, meaning it will never change. The earth will always go round, the seasons will always occur, the winds will always blow, the rains will always fall. They will not deviate. The sun and moon will always be in their course, the stars will always be in their course until they're not. And there was great joy amongst them, the angels in heaven. They celebrated at the creation of God. And they blessed and glorified and extolled, because the name of that Son of Man had been revealed unto them. That would be Jesus. He was there in the beginning, and that's the secret they're talking about. The secret of the power of this oath that causes all of these things to happen is Jesus Christ, the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. ... And that is the secret oath that the angels so desperately wanted to know and did not. You see the connection here? Very interesting. And he sat on the throne of his glory, and the sum of judgment was given unto the Son of Man. Christ said, all authority has been given unto me from the Father. He said that in the Bible. Here it is saying it in the book of Enoch. The sum of judgment, the authority of all things given to the Son of Man, Christ, who called himself the Son of Man in the Bible. And he caused the sinners to pass away and be destroyed from off the face of the earth. And those who have led the world astray, with chains shall they be bound, and in their assemblage place of destruction shall they be imprisoned, the lake of fire, and all their works vanish from the face of the earth, and from henceforth there shall be nothing corruptible. That would be the destruction of people at the lake of fire that followed Satan, right? Satan, as we have learned from this book, is more than one being. It is a title, not a name. So all of those angels that had involved themselves in teaching mankind different things, they are Satans too, right? Those are the Satans, the bad guys, the shaitans from that language. And from our language, the corruptible ones, the watchers, the bad guys, however you want to call them. And for that, Son of Man has appeared and has seated himself on the throne of his glory, and all evil shall pass away before his face. And the word of that Son of Man shall go forth and be strong before the Lord of spirits, Jesus Christ taking his rightful place on the throne as the leader of all. There you go. Chapter 70. Man, what a fantastic book this is so far. That's right, Mabel. Satan is not one, he's many. Many, many, many. Right. And it came to pass after this, that his name during his lifetime was raised aloft to that Son of Man, and to the Lord of spirits from amongst those who dwell on the earth. And he was raised aloft on the chariots of the Spirit, and his name vanished among them. And from that day I was no longer numbered amongst them. And he set me between the two winds, between the Noah and the west. The north and the west. And where the angels took the cord to measure, that's the little cords that they had before the measuring sticks, where they took the cords to measure from me the place, the elect and the righteous. And there I saw the first fathers and the righteous, who from the beginning dwell in that place. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'm guessing one of the heavens, one of the places where the elect go, and the righteous after all of this comes to pass. Basically what he's saying is he was allowed to see all of these things that occurred from start to finish, and then he was taken away from that and then placed in the same place where the elect and the righteous go. So that's why Enoch has not died, and neither has Elijah. They are together in that place. They will die, because it's appointed to every man to die, but they haven't yet. Those two guys are still alive, somewhere, wherever this place is they're talking about. That's why I think that those two are the ones that will be the two witnesses at the end, because they're to die at that moment. And that makes sense. That would complete their lives. Then they would have also died and then be resurrected. So then their spiritual form would be able to live on. Chapter 71. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. Plural. Notice the difference in shift of tense between heaven and heavens. Those are different places. Heavens is everything. Heaven is where God is, right? And I saw, can I get another cup of coffee, please? And I saw the holy sons of God, the angels. They were stepping into flames of fire, stepping on flames of fire. And their garments were white, and their raiment, and their faces shone like snow. Moses was described as that when he came down from the mountain from talking to God. Noah was described as that at birth. And there's been a couple of places. Christ was described as that during the transfiguration. So apparently being in the presence of God makes you shine. Could that be radiation? I don't know. But it makes you shine. That's that Shekinah glory that's talked about in the Bible, that overwhelming radiance of light. And their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like Hyacinthe. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing some kind of stone or some kind of mineral. I'll have to look that word up. Give me 1 second. I got to figure out what that word means. Really? There we go. Got it. Oh, it's a flower. I get. It's a purple flower. It looks like something I've seen before. Maybe you ladies know what that is. I don't know. I'm not a flower guy. But it is a flower. So the light of that fire shone like pretty purple flowers. So I guess it was a iridescent purple color. You ever seen a flame turn colors? I guess that's what he's talking about. All right. And I fell on my face before the Lord of Spirits, and the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by the right hand and lifted me up and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. Interesting. And he showed me all the secrets of the end of the heaven, singular, and all the chambers of all the stars and all the luminaries. There's a difference between stars and luminaries. Whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, singular then plural. Heavens, by the way, is the firmament. Anything where the air is and the birds fly, where the stars are and space is, where God is and heaven is. That's the heavens, 3 of them. And heaven singular is the place that is the dimension where God himself exists, as I understand it to be. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens. So this guy has been translated. His body has transmorphalized into a spirit, but still in flesh form somewhere, somehow. I don't know how that works. Like Christ, when he transfigured, it's the same word. Translated, transfigured, same word. Somehow, his flesh body turned into spiritual form and then turned back into flesh body. I don't know how that works. But apparently it's different than dying. And I make that distinction because when you die and the silver cord is parted and this clay pot breaks, the spirit within is instantly with the Father who gave it. It is no longer in the body. Being translated is a different thing because you still have a body and you're still in it, but not right now. Somehow or other, you switch into the spiritual form. So that's a different technology. Maybe like the transporter on Star Trek. I don't know. It's pretty interesting to think about, though. It's kind of scary. What are the implications of being able to translate or transfigure into another being? What does that mean you can do? Are all people capable of that? Can it only be done from God's perspective to man? Can he make you translate, but you can't? I don't know. Then you talk about Philip, who was in very different places on earth and could not have walked there because God allowed him to project himself into wherever he needed to go. Pretty interesting. And I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals. Interesting. And between those crystals, tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its four sides were streams full of living fire. And they girt that house. The fire held the house up, the structure of crystals. And round about were seraphim, cherubic, and orphanin, 3 different types of angels. This in at the end is plural, so seraph is the word. Seraphim is more than one of them. Cherubim is plural. I don't know what cherubic means. Maybe that means a bunch of them. I don't know. Maybe the C is a difference between 2 or more. I don't know, but it's there. Might be a typo also. It should be cherubim, but it says cherubic, so I'm going to assume that means a bunch of them. And orphanin, which is a different type of angel yet still. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, tens of thousands of thousands of thousands of thousands, encircling that house. So this is the house of God, where the throne is. He's looking at it from the outside, and he says it's surrounded by tongues of living fire, holding a djinn, by the way, which is the ancient way of thinking of demons or spirits. They are beings made of smoke and fire, different than us. We're made of carbon and oxygen and other stuff. These beings are made of smoke and fire and other stuff. Living fire, basically. That's what a jinn is, where we get the term genie. Genie in the bottle, that's that myth of that reality. Amazing. Just imagine thinking about what he's seeing here. And thousands of angels walking around in circles around this house, guarding it in scores. Guarding it from what? What could attack this house? These are things we dare not know the answer to. The implication, though, is it needs to be guarded. From what? Or whom? And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000, thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000 encircling that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phanuel and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool. Do you know who that is? We've discussed this before. This title, Head of Days, is referring to Jesus Christ, I believe. It might be somebody else, but I think it's Christ. His head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured, and I cried with a loud voice with the spirit of power, and blessed and glorified and extolled. And these blessings which went forth out of my mouth were well-pleasing before that head of days. And that head of days came with Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phanuel, 1,000 and 10,000s of angels without number. Lost passage wherein the Son of Man was described as accompanying the head of days, and Enoch asked one of the angels, as in whatever this book is, concerning the Son of Man, as to who he was. Okay, so I'm wrong. The head of days is not Christ. The Son of Man is Christ. Who is the head of days? That's a figure we don't know. Could it be Melchizedek? Could be. Interesting. Who is the head of days? There's a verse here that is missing. It's pointed out that there's a lost verse describing him asking who this guy is. And he, the angel, came to me and greeted me with his voice and said unto me, This is the Son of Man who was born unto righteousness, and righteousness abides over him. and the righteousness of the head of days forsakes him not. And he said unto me, for he proclaims unto thee peace in the name of the world to come. For from hence has proceeded peace since the creation of the world, and so shall it be unto thee forever and ever and evermore. Okay, it could be that the head of days is the physical manifestation of God. Could be Gabriel the archangel, the voice of God. I don't know. I don't know who the head of days is, but it sounds like he's God. But God is called the whatever it is, Lord of Spirits. So is the head of days the Lord of Spirits? Is it the same thing? I'm not sure. In the book of Enoch, the head of days or ancient of days refers to God, the supreme divine figure with white hair, often appearing with archangels like Michael and Raphael. Yes, I understand that. I know, but there's also a difference in the titling. He's also called the Lord of Spirits. So this is different. I'm trying to figure out why there's a difference in the way they're describing him. So it could be that he has different stations of existence, different types of being, if that makes any sense. Obviously, God is all things, all-encompassing. He's a fire that consumes, all-consuming fire. But apparently, sometimes he can be seen as a man, right? Or the Lord of Spirits. He's over all the spirits. Sometimes he's just hanging out with dudes, the head of days. I'm thinking that's how this works. Not really sure. This title emphasizes God's external, primordial nature, but the text also introduces a separate, distinct figure called the Son of Man. That's Christ, who is chosen by the Lord of Spirits, that's God, revealed to Enoch as a righteous messianic figure. Yeah, because it's the Messiah who will judge humanity, with some interpretations linking him to Enoch or Jesus. No, it's not Enoch. Enoch is talking to him. It can't be him. So it is Jesus. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This is just confirming that. It was, in fact, Jesus. But this head of days, that's interesting. Ancient of days, Lord of Spirits. All these words describing the same being. Something to wrap your head around. Anyway, this is why I don't teach the Trinity, because it's not, it fails to meet the definition of what's happening here. That's why I don't teach it. And he said unto me, he proclaims unto thee peace in the name of the world to come, and from henceforth, I read all this, forever and ever. And all shall walk in his ways, since righteousness never forsaketh them. With him will be their dwelling places, and with him their heritage, and they shall not be separated from him forever and ever and ever. And so there shall be length of days with that Son of Man, Christ. And the righteous shall have peace and an upright way in the name of the Lord of Spirits forever and ever. Amen. That's where we're going to stop for today. And tomorrow night we will begin the book of astronomy. Very nice. All right. Book 3, Astronomy, chapter 72. Let me highlight that. That's where we're picking up tomorrow night. Man, that's intense. That's a big, big, big bunch of book there. All right. I hope that was informative. I hope that it was thought-provoking. I hope that it was in your face, smacking you around, getting you to understand that there's a whole lot more going on out here than we know about. And above all, I truly, sincerely hope that it causes you to reach out with both hands to Almighty God, your Father, and ask him to be a part of your life. Ask him to fix what ails you. Ask him to show you the way and to answer your questions and to comfort your weaknesses and to keep you in line with what he desires for you. Won't you do that? Pray for him, pray to him, ask him for those things, forgiveness above all, and understanding beyond that. While you're thinking about that, while you're pondering that depth, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free, it's effortless, it's right in front of you, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms. Helps us get recommended to other people. Won't you do that, please? Share this video with somebody you love. Be a pro. Share the show with everybody you know. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to help me build it, leave a super chat. Buy a t-shirt. Join the channel. Get yourself a JTAG. That's something that you can do that will help out monthly and it'll keep us going. So do that, and you'll be privy to things that other people are not. But if you really want to help, if you feel led to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings, or something like that, you can do that at paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand, or Cash App users can go to $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It is a win-win. There is no too small of a number. It's a blessing to me. It helps me keep the lights on. It helps me keep going around here. But it's a blessing to you too. How do I know that? Because God notices when you take care of his own, and he takes care of you back. Now, I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. I will answer all your questions and comments. I will leave nothing on the table. I will avail myself of you 24/7 as I always do right now. Okay. All right. Questions. What do you think? What is your brain? Are you reeling like I am right now? What an interesting, fantastic book. How in-depth and accurate to the Bible. I didn't expect that. What it is says, I'm here. Hello to all. Hey, what it is. Nice to see you, buddy. Amanda says, what it is. Hamburger help her hand. Amber says, what it is. Prayers and hearts. Maybe it's Maybelline. Hey, Mabel. She says, ciao, everybody. Jake and Amanda, how are you? How are you? Nice to see you. Hi, Hannah. Oh. Chat jump. Give me a second. I got to get back to it. 8:46. There we go. All right. Amanda says, Mabel and Hannah, hamburger help her hand. Amber says, Mabel and Hannah, prayers, hearts, and unicorns. Kevin says, Miss Mabel, hamburger help her hand. Judy says, hey, Mabel and Hannah. Amy says, hi, what it is. And hi, Mabel and Hannah. And then Amy says, the post-text A-E-L or E-A-L or L could mean angel. Yes, it does. It means... El is the word Elohim, right? El is short for Elohim. Elohim is plural, and it means spiritual being. All spiritual beings are Elohim, but only one Elohim is God. But God is an Elohim. He is one of those spiritual beings. But he's the only one that is God, if that makes any sense. But yes. And that is confusing to a lot of people because we're taught that we worship one God, and it's a sin to worship any other gods. Correct. But there's more than one being involved in creation. And the Bible tells you that that's the case, but we interpret it as all of these things meaning God. But it don't. Sometimes it means other beings. That's the thing you got to be watching out for. There's a difference in spelling. For example, every time it uses the word Lord in the Bible, sometimes it is lowercase. Sometimes it has a capital L, and sometimes all four letters are capitalized. Those are three different words translated from the Greek or the Hebrew. And it means three different things. It's not the same being. And that trips people up sometimes. You got to be careful with that. Judy says, hey, what it is? Amy says, that was a question. I forgot to punctuate. Got it? Yes, that is what that means. It means spiritual being, not necessarily angel. All angels are spiritual beings, but all other spiritual beings are also spiritual beings. And God is a spiritual being. So the answer to that question is all spiritual beings are Elohim, but not all Elohim are God. Only one Elohim, one El is God. Amy says, wow, there's a good passage to remember when people say it's not biblical. Oh, it's biblical. It's just biblical for older times. This generation doesn't need that information. I assume that's why God had it taken out. And yes, if I believe God could inherently inspire people to write the Bible, I certainly believe he can get people to edit it. That's all right with me. Kevin says, what it is? Sorry I missed you. Hamburger Helper Hand. Amy says, I honestly don't understand why the book of Enoch isn't included in the Bible. It must have been a political point of tension at the time. This is powerful information. Yes. And I can tell you why it's not included in the Bible, because it was a political point at that time. And also, it does not concern salvation, and that all the books in the Bible are telling the same story. Enoch stands alone. As there's a couple of other books, the Maccabees. There's a few other ones. I can't think of them all right now. Were taken out because they didn't follow the same canon, right? That's not to say that they're not correct. It's not to say that they're not biblical. They are biblical. They're part of the Bible. They're just a separate part of the Bible. They made the Bible a trilogy. Put it that way. And like I said, if God can inspire the Bible to be written, he can inspire it to be edited. So I assume that information isn't pertinent anymore. That's old stuff, right? Everything we've read thus far is concerning the beginning of things before creation. And also our Bible tells most of that itself. So it's rehashing things we already know. It's a little more in-depth. It's a little clearer of a picture, but all that information is in the Bible. You just got to read between the lines. So maybe he took it out because it's just overkill, saying the same thing over and over again. Maybe. Who knows? Where did Enoch go in the Bible? Was it before Genesis? Was it after? I don't know. Where is it in the Philippine Bible? Where in the Bible is the book of Enoch placed? That'd be interesting to find out. Amy says the angel in charge of snow and ice needs to take a break. Right? Mabel says, yes, Amy, someone needs to have a word with them, the angels of ice and snow, right? Yep. Slow down, guys. You're killing us down here. Lady B says, Amy, it was 65 degrees in Alabama today. I had all the windows up and the ceiling fans going, and it felt like spring. Flowers, 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 flowers. Mabel says, Satan is not one, he is many. Correct. That is a piece of information that most of us do not know, but it is true. And Amy says, Hakenth is absolutely beautiful. Yes, it reminds me of something I've seen before, though, but called by a different name. Maybe we call it hibiscus. That might be what it is. I don't know. But it is a pretty purple flower. And it looks like that. Yep. Amanda says, want some Hakenth? They are beautiful. Or I want some Hakenth. Yeah, they are beautiful. Amber says, maybe like me laying 3 months with nothing but heartbeat like nothing. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying there, Amber. Maybe like me laying 3 months with nothing but a heartbeat. Like nothing. Maybe. I don't know. I think you're referring to when I was talking about being transfigured and still being part of your body. Being in two different places at one time, maybe. I don't know how that works. Mabel says, cherubic, having the childlike innocence of plump prettiness of a cherub. Interesting. Amy says Hakenth symbolizes love, joy, sorrow, and rebirth, with their specific meaning often depending on color, stemming from the Greek myth of Apollo, and Hakenthus representing deep devotion. Interesting. And Amanda says in the Greek cherubic, I guess that's Greek, it might be Hebrew. Nope, that's Greek. Adjective having the childlike innocence of plump prettiness of a cherub. That's what Mabel said. You got it. Amy says forgiveness and the cycle of life. For instance, blue Hakenth means serenity. Pink signifies playful joy. Purple can mean regret or forgiveness. White denotes loveliness or prayer. Interesting. Amy says, and yellow often symbolizes jealousy. Who made up these words? Or who associates these words with those flowers? Amanda says, the book of Enoch, the head of days or ancient of days, refers to God, the supreme divine figure with white hair, often appearing with archangels like Michael or Raphael. This title emphasizes God's eternal, primordial nature, but the text also introduces a separate, distinct figure called the Son of Man, who is chosen by the Lord of Spirits and revealed to Enoch as a righteous, messianic figure who will judge humanity, with some interpretations linking him to Enoch or Jesus. No, it's definitely Jesus. And Amanda says, great read, Jake. Thank you. Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much. I hope you did too. Amber says, what a beautiful message, Jake. Thank you. Smiley faces and hearts and prayers. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate you very much. Mabel says, if seeing God alone is dangerous to humans in their human form, then I think it is safe to assume he may have an archangel who represents him in human form. He does, and his name is Gabriel, and it says so in the Bible that Gabriel has the face of God, meaning that if you hear God's voice audibly, it's Gabriel doing the talking, like at the burning bush. When the burning bush spoke to Moses, that was the voice of Gabriel. So he absolutely does have an archangel that represents him to mankind, because according to Enoch, when you see God, you fall dead. You can't be in his presence. So it's pretty interesting, but you're absolutely right about that. Amy says, thanks, Jake. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. And thank you for all the input. You guys make my job so much more fulfilling because you get to put the little details down that I just miss when I'm rambling. I know these things, but I can't articulate them very well and call them to mind when I'm in the middle of a flow. So thank you for pointing out those details as I speak. It helps everyone, and that's a beautiful job you're doing. Thank you to Amanda and Amy and everybody else, Mabel. Anybody that helps out, helps keep me in line. I appreciate that. Amber says, thank you for sharing, Miss Hammer. Hearts, smiley faces, and prayers. Lady B says, thank you, Jake. Prayers. Thank you, Lady B. I appreciate you. Kevin says, good read. Thank you, Jake and Amanda. Kevin, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you listening. Lady B says, astronomy next. Prayers. Yep, that's what it says. The book of astronomy. Remember that God said to stay away from astronomy, so it'd be interesting to see what this book says. Maybe it'll tell us why God doesn't want us to involve ourselves with it. Judy says, thanks, Jake. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate you very much. Amanda says, you're welcome, Amber. I got to share him. Hold on, my chat jumped. 929. Amanda says, you're welcome, Amber. I got to share him or he would drive me crazy, LOL. Judy says, press that like button, everybody. I would drive you crazy, huh? How you think I got here? I drove myself crazy first. You're welcome. Amy says, even something small like a specific type of flower has great meaning in the Bible. That's why it is important to use the correct version, King James Version, because small details get changed. Yes, And that's why I only teach from it. Obviously, there's no King James version of the book of Enoch. It's just the book of Enoch. So take it for what it is, for what interpretation we can get. I don't even know if there's a good or a bad translation of it. I haven't studied it like I have the Bible. I have studied the Bible, and I went down the rabbit holes to find out which one. And I can trace the book of King James Version all the way back to its inception at Antioch. Sorry, got Enoch on the brain. Antioch, which is why I trust it to be the true word, inspired word of God. All the other translations break up and fail by the wayside. So King James is it. It's the best one we got. Closest to the original. There's some mistakes in it too, but not many, and they point them out. There's a letter at the beginning of the original King James that tells you that we did the best we could under duress. There were 50 guys under lock and key held at sword point to translate the Bible 50 times. Each handed a portion of the Bible to translate, and then it was passed to their neighbor to retranslate it, and it went through that process 50 times, and what came out in the end was the King James Version Bible. So they did make mistakes, but very few of them, and they did their best, and they tell you, here are the tools to go find the real answers. So that's what we do. We look them up and find out for ourselves. Amber says, either popcorn or muffins or a poodle and a fez hat. Could be that. I don't know. Kind of looks like a poodle in a fez hat. Amber says that to Miss Hammer. Amy says, I know Enoch isn't King James Version, but just saying. Right on. Kevin says, question for Jake. How long before the Bible was this book written? I don't know exactly. The Bible itself was written over a large period of time. It wasn't all written at one time. For example, the book of Job is about 4,500 years old. Adversely, the book of Matthew was written in like the 500s or something like that. I don't know exactly. It's compiled over a period of about 2,500 years. So somewhere in that period of time, the book of Enoch was added to all of it. And I don't know when it was written. But if you take it at its word, Noah is talking in the first person in the book of Enoch. He's saying, I said this and I did that, which means he wrote it down. So it's at least as old as Noah is. That'll give you an idea. So it was written around the time of Noah. About 200 years after the Garden of Eden, my guess is. Maybe that'll help. Sorry. Phone is blowing up over here. Amanda says it was written after the Old Testament and before the New. I don't know if it was written after the Old Testament. It was written during the same time period as the Old Testament. Amy says the trilogy then. Right on. If they're God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit, spiritual beings, etc. Trinity, you mean? Yeah. It also includes the angels and any other spiritual entities that are in existence. The word El means Elohim. It's plural. It means more than one spiritual being. And I hope that helps. Trinity. Yeah, Trinity. Again, I don't teach the Trinity. As you just heard in this book that we just read, it is very much more complicated than just three beings into one. It's way more complicated than that. So the Trinity teaching does not do it justice. So I don't teach that. God is God. He's the only God we worship, but there are more beings involved. Amber says, my grandfather had a set of Bibles. I remember them. It was in a plain brown box thingy, and he always said the best gifts in life aren't in fancy packages. I understand him more the older I get. Amen to that. The better I understand, the older I get. I understand that, Amber. And you're right. The best gifts don't come in fancy packages. They come in a gift. It's a thing you can use. That's the best gift. A fancy package just means somebody's trying to impress you with bullshit. Amber says, yes, you are correct. I still remember lots from the coma time frame. It's kind of scary. Oh, I can imagine. I don't know what you're referring to, but I can imagine that was scary. And I have heard that people in a coma are conscious. They do have knowledge and understanding of what's going on. That's what I've heard. I don't know that to be true, but that's what I've heard. Amy says, Hyacinth. Thank you. Hyacinth. Yeah, I can't read. I'm illiterate. What are you talking about? Patty says, I will try to explain this, Jake. All right. The YHVH is actually the sound of our taking a breath sound, the inhale and the exhale sound. Yeah, I understand the Amim or whatever you call him, the rabbi made that distinction. I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand where you got that, and you are correct. That is what they think. But YHVH is 4 consonants which make the sound of the forbidden word of God, name of God, as they say. I don't know whether that's true or not. I would imagine if it's forbidden and you're not allowed to speak it and it's a secret, then you don't know what it is. And since we all know what it is, I'm guessing that probably ain't it, which is what my point was. But you are right that is what they think about how to say that word and what it means. It is the breath of God. You got it. Amy says, yes, Patty. And Patty says, peace, smiley face. Amy says, it takes a lot of us to keep Jake in line. Ain't that the truth? Amber says, Amy, I agree. Smiley, smiley. Amanda says, the book of Enoch, 1 Enoch, was written centuries after the main books of Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, but before the New Testament, with its earliest parts dating to around the 3rd or 2nd century. BCE. There is your problem. This is incorrect information. Yes, this is the information they give. So yes, that is the answer to your question if you were asking secularly when the book was written. I personally don't believe that they are right. I personally believe that the books tell you who wrote it. Right? Like in Genesis, these are the days of Adam. Adam is the author of that book. It is a book he wrote. That's why it's these are the days of, or this is the story of, or whatever it says. And in the book of Enoch, it says this is Noah talking. So these are the books of Noah, and I believe that they are correct. The way science would have you believe is that somebody, some amorphous person at some point wrote this book and then added it into the lexicon in the 2nd century BCE, which means before Common Era, which is not BC, which is before Christ. It's a different scale. They made that up in the 60s because they wanted to get away from God. So BCE is the atheist way of saying BC, and their dates are incorrect. So, according to science, that's when the book was written. According to Jake, it was written when Noah was alive because he wrote it. While the biblical figure Enoch lived much earlier, around 3000 BCE, it wasn't part of the Bible canon for most Jews and Christians, though it influenced early King James. No, sorry. It influenced early Christians throughout, quoted in Jude, and is in the Ethiopian Orthodox canon. Yeah, see, that's the problem right there. Canon, this idea of canon, which was established in 1066 at the Council of Nicaea, and after that was co-opted by these people who you are now quoting. They are wrong. Okay? The book of Enoch absolutely was part of the Bible up until they took it out. It absolutely was there. When Jesus quoted it, he was quoting it because he knew about it, because it was there. Now, this sliding scale, notice they said it was written in the 3rd or 2nd century, but 3000 BCE is when Enoch actually lived. I don't know that those dates are right, but that's way different than the 3rd or 2nd century. Well, if it was written in the 3rd or 2nd century and Enoch says that he wrote it in the book, why wasn't it written in 3000 BCE? He said he wrote it. I believe him. Why would you put that in the book if it isn't true and everything else is true? So I believe them when they say they wrote it. If that makes any sense. Mabel says King James is absolutely the closest English translation, but I have learnt over the last month researching Hebrew translations that even in Italian translations that there are many errors, and unless you understand the Hebrew text, you miss out on a lot of the meaning and context, which is why I exist, Mabel. That is my job, and is to interpolate it to you correctly. And I take my job very seriously, and yes, I understand the Hebrew text in the Hebrew language. That's why you need a pastor, because if you're left to your own devices, you're only understanding according to what you know, and if it's something you don't know, you can't very well understand it. But if you have somebody that does know, he can explain it to you, and then you know, and all is well. That's what we do as pastors. So I hope that helps. I guess it's up to you whether you trust my interpretation or not. To that I say, you can do the same thing I did, and that is to study and learn. So you can do it yourself. But if you want to just have me guide you and save you the trouble, you can do that too. But that's up to you. You have to make that decision. I say listen to no man, not even this one. Listen to God. He'll tell you what's right. I can guide you, but he is the author, not me. Amber says, it's supposed to be a popcorn, not a poodle. Well, it kind of looks like a poodle in a fez hat. But it is popcorny, huh? Lady B says, these days, my gifts to me is time. Time is a gift that you cannot have enough of. Lady B says, meaning, friend, family, etc. Give me time. Amen. I hear you there. Well, time is running out. And Y can be used as a vowel, says Amy. It can, sometimes. Sometimes Y and W. So maybe they're vowels. Does God's name contain vowels? It's very interesting because there's a lot of study that goes into the breath of God. There's a lot of information about that. And if you really understand when God said, let there be, right? Think about what a universe is. A single spoken phrase, universe. Let there be. And it came into existence, and the vibrations and the frequencies. And if you understand all the depth of that, the complexities of what that actually means, it is mind-boggling. So yes, it very well could be the breath of God, why they chose those vowels to make that meaning. I don't know. I do know that I would guess that if it's secret, we don't know it. Lady B says, good night, Jake. I love y'all. Enjoyed the read. Keep doing what you do. Jake. Thectra. I don't know what that means. What are you trying to get at there? Lady B says, translation stuff at the end of comments got confusing. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you. Translation stuff? What are you talking about? What is confusing? Yeah, I don't know what that word means that you wrote there, thectra. Unless you're trying to say etc. the extra. Maybe that's what you're saying. The citra. I don't know what you're saying there. You have to be more specific. But what translation stuff is confusing to you? I'll clear it up for you. I don't remember translating anything, but what are you talking about? Are you talking about transfiguring when it says translated or transfigured into a spiritual being? If that's confusing, let me clear it up for you. The body somehow can turn into or transmorphize or transfigure or translate into a spiritual being without destroying the physical body. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you step out of the body or if the body turns into something. Don't know. But that's not confusing because Christ did it when he went up and talked to Eli and Moses, or whoever it was, Noah and Moses, I can't remember now. And Enoch did it, and Elijah did it. Several times as the human body transfigured into a spiritual being and then back into a human body in the Bible and in the book of Enoch. That's not confusing at all, if that's what you're talking about. But I hope that you understand. Lady B says, love you, Amanda. Amy says, on a side note, I think my Chihuahua has severe addiction to peanut brittle. He fiends after it whenever I try to eat it. Literally tries to get out of my hand. He won't do that for anyone else. That's interesting. You have a fiend Chihuahua for peanut brittle. I kind of like peanut brittle also. Lady B says, typo, Jake, forgive me. What are you typoing? What are we talking about? You say things that don't connect to anything. What are you saying? Are you talking about the Thectra? That was a typo? Because that was a thing you said that I didn't understand. Yep. Judy says, my doxy tries to eat everything I have. Right on. I think all dogs are programmed to eat everything they can get their hands on, or their snouts on. Amanda says Tribble loses her mind over honey buns and ice cream. That dog is a fiend. That dog likes her some cookies or anything sweet. I've never seen a dog with a sweet tooth like that one. And she knows the difference. It ain't just eating. You can give her the choice between a biscuit and a honey bun, and she goes for the honey bun. I have to sneak them. That'll tell you. As soon as I open the door where she's at, she's like watching me. If I reach for that honey bun, she'll go nuts. I got to sneak one to get it away from her. So I can't eat one in peace. I got to give her half of it. In little bites, obviously. And we get the little honey bun, so there ain't much there to start with. You got to share half of it with a dog. You got to eat 3 honey buns to get a honey bun. What kind of dog is she, Amanda? She is a Chihuahua. She's half Shih Tzu, half Chihuahua. A Chihuahua. Or a Chihuahua. One or the other. She's pretty, though, if she gets bathed and combed and trimmed. Amy says, can you show Tribble? Haven't seen her in a while. I can't right now, but I'll get a picture and put it in the post or something. Because she's downstairs and I'm locked to a camera, but yeah. Unless Amanda wants to go get her. It looks like you're going to get a Tribble sighting.
She's going to be mad because I know I'm going to wake her up.
Mabel says, go to Starbucks and ask for a pup cup. We go every time we are in town with the dogs, and they are free. You don't even have to order anything, just a little cup of whipped cream. Interesting. I didn't know that. She'd probably love that.
Fatty.
Oh, Lord.
Fatty. Fatty, fatty. Oh, got her?
Yep. Little bug-eyed rat dog. There she is. Say hello.
She needs a haircut.
She needs a haircut. And a real job. There you go.
God.
She's getting fat. Whew. Now, Mabel says sometimes they give us bigger cups when they see the big dogs. Nice. Amy says, Mabel, yup, pup cups. I'll have to try that out. I didn't know that. Thank you. Next time I'm in town, I'll locate a Starbucks and get her a pup cup. What about... I don't want to just ask for a pup cup, though. I got to buy something, so what would I ask for? I don't think they make just coffee there, do they? And I definitely don't want a, whatever they say, half whip, double lip, foamy on the side with a shot of express. I don't know, whatever they say. I don't want none of that. I just want a cup of coffee. And Patty says, thank you, Miss Amanda and Jake, and good night to everyone, and Happy New Year to all. Patty, God bless you, sweet lady. I love you. Thank you for your questions, and thank you for being here. And Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to you too. And we'll see you next time. Amy says, aw. Lady B says, precious. Jake and Amanda and Dribble. Mabel says, we take Vic's truck if we go with the dogs, and you can feel them rocking the bed when we pull into the drive-thru because they are excited. I bet they know they're getting that pup cup. Amy says, she's gotten a little bit bigger, you think? I think that's it, though. I don't think she's getting any bigger than that. That's pretty big for a Chihuahua, though. Amanda says, just a pup cup. Judy says, good night, Patty. And Amber says, a fur baby. Hearts and smiley faces. Oh, yeah. And Mabel says, yeah, they do. April Rain's here. She says, hi, everybody. I'll have to rewatch. Sorry. Oh, Tribble is adorable. I love that face. And much love to everyone here. Hey, April, how are you, sweet lady? Happy New Year. How you doing? Amber says, good night, Patty. Prayers and hearts and smiley faces. Mabel says, ask for a blonde roast. It's the strongest. You can have black or add sugar or whatever you want. I'll do that. And thank you. Amy says, just regular coffee. Try the blend of the day. Yeah, I didn't know that you could get a regular coffee at Starbucks. I don't usually shop there, so I don't know much about it. And Amanda says she's a year old now, so no bigger, just fatter. She's definitely healthy, that's for sure. That dog, she weighs 25 pounds. Amanda says, April, hamburger, help her hand. Lady B says, love you, April, smiley face, kissy face. Hold on, my chat jumped. Chat jump, chat jump. Gotta get your chat jump. Amy says, April, heart. And Debbie says, oh no, triple paws. Be still, my beating heart. She's a pretty puppy. She needs a haircut bad. I keep getting on to Amanda, trim her. She won't do it. She thinks it's too cold. I keep telling her she's a dog. It's not too cold, but I understand that fur does keep her warm. But it is getting wild. She's got a mohawk right down the center of her face. You can't see where she's going because there's a big mohawk in the way. Poor thing. And Judy says, hey, April. And Kevin says, April, hamburger, help her hand. Amber says, eyes, smiley face, hearts, and prayers. Amanda says, Tribble don't need any doggy crack coffee. She's nutty enough. I know, but I'd love to see it. I'd like to see her just spinning around with the zoomies. Lady B says, Amanda, smiley face. Amy says, Chewy is picky. He won't eat a pup cup. A grumpy old dog. That is weird. April says, Amanda and Jake, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope all had a wonderful Christmas and a new year. And we had the boys all week and just taking it easy tonight. And I hear you. We've been steady getting it. I've been working on computers. I've been learning Linux and converting my computers over, trying to find the best everything and get all the software that I need because it's all different. Windows and Mac uses certain software and Linux don't have that. So you got to find equivalents to everything. So I've been working on that for a week. I'm almost done, though. Amy says, blonde roast is great. It has the highest caffeine content. I definitely would like that. Blonde roast, I'll remember that. And Lady B says, Happy New Year, April. Amber says, hugs and love, y'all. I'm awake. It's 7 p.m. here, and it's early. It's early here. Hearts, smiley faces. I love you too, Amber. Thank you for being here. Amanda says, I trimmed her face. And when it warms up, she will get the shave and a bath. Just keep that mohawk out of her eyes. That's all I'm asking. Poor thing can't see nothing. April says, Kevin, Amber, Amy, Judy, Debbie, Lady, Mabel, hugs and love. Hearts and prayers. Lady B says, April, prayers. Amber says, Jake and Miss Hammer, thank you for a wonderful evening. Hearts and herpes. I love you too, Amber. Thank you. Amy says, I need a haircut too. Me too. I ain't getting one, though. I don't do haircuts. I'm a scruffy old dog myself. So understand. Mabel says some locations only do blonde roast until 10 or 11 a.m. So after that, dark roast is the best option. You can even ask them to French press and pour over. And it doesn't cost you more. Nice. I don't think I've ever had a French press coffee. I know what it is, but I don't think I've ever had it. I may have tried it when I was younger. I don't remember, but I don't think so. And Judy says, wow, Amy, Chewy won't eat a pup cup. April says, he's so cute. Aw, she's cute. Amy says, he's spoiled rotten. Chewy is. Amy says, I think he's got the doggo version of autism. He has certain textures that he won't touch. Probably. April says, yeah, they are a handful, huh? LOL. And Amy. Smiley face and wavy hands. Amanda says, LOL, yeah, Jake. But you won't let me trim you. Yeah, I'm not a dog, though. I like being scruffy and old. April says, good one, OMG. I probably do need to trim them. My eyebrows are getting kind of out of hand. I'll let you trim the eyebrows. You just leave the mustache alone. I swear my mustache needs a Facebook page. April says, that's hilarious. Ha. I got the wacky eyebrows and the ear hair going out of control. Apparently, my DNA did not understand the difference between ear and head because I've got hair growing off the tips of my ears like a wolf man and then the hair on the inside of my ears. I got to keep it trimmed and on the tip of my nose. I got to shave my nose. So my DNA was like, yeah, that looks like a good place to put hair. He won't mind. Amanda says, well, look at it this way. If I mess up the mustache, then you get to shave it. I'll handle the mustache, thank you. I know right where it goes. April says, LOL. Yeah, you can make your own magnet face. Remember those? No, I do not. What are we talking about? Magnet face? LOL, yeah, you can make your own magnet face? What are you talking about, April? What is that in reference to? Me shaving my mustache? Are you talking about a magnetic mustache? I don't know. Amy says, good night, Untethered Live family. Back to my regularly scheduled tomorrow night. See you at Bible study at 8:30. I'll be listening while working. Well, I love you, Amy. God bless you and sweet dreams. And I'm going too. It's 10 o'clock. All right, I love you all. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this great book of Enoch. Join me again tomorrow as we begin the book of astronomy in that great book series called Enoch. Have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. Be nice when you go out into the world and see what happens. Judy says, good night, Amy. Mabel says, the moon is still quite big tonight. It is beautiful and bright, isn't it? How was the meteor shower? Did you guys get to see it? Amanda says, good nighters all. See you tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live for a Bible study. Heart and much love, y'all. Heart. Judy says, bye, y'all. Kevin says, good night, everybody. Kevin, Judy. Mabel says, good night, everyone. Mabel. Lady B says, good night, Kevin. Lady B. And Amy says, making a cup of mullein tea and then off to bed. Well, I hope you enjoy. Try it with honey. Lady B says, good night, Judy. Sweet dreams. Bedtime. Crescent moon. And April says, good night, sweet dreams. See you tomorrow night. Kissy face. All right. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. I love you, true. Thank you for watching.